Okay, so I haven't made a video about this in a while, and it's not that I haven't found anything, it's just I just kind of been a little busy, but that's another story for another time though. So anyways, with how many views I've been getting on this channel, it seems like, I can't stop making these videos, People want Pokemon theory videos, so why not? And there's so many things about Pokemon that I keep finding that even to this day, I don't think too many people actually know this. So, alright, here goes. So I was playing some of the old Sailor Moon games that were never released outside of Japan. If you don't know what Sailor Moon is, it's basically a story about a bunch of high school girls that have like mystical powers and all that. It's a Japanese only series. If you're someone who's fortunate enough to know what I'm talking about, Sailor as in it's not spelled like the regular Sailor. I think it's spelled with OR, not with a Y. Sailor. Yeah. It's spelled OR instead of ER. But actually, no, I think Sailor spelled the same way. But anyways, so basically, there's a cat from the series. It's called Luna, and so basically, there's a beta Pokemon. There's a beta number 2. I don't think this Pokemon was ever recycled into something else. I'm still trying to figure it out. But I think it's like a bell ringer or something. It's got like this little bell around its head, or its neck. And I believe it's a dark type. I'm not sure. I haven't caught one yet, so I don't really know. But it's a Pokemon that apparently is, you find it at night. But this was actually, it's got a crescent moon on its forehead, and I was like, okay, I definitely see where they're getting the idea. I thought it was a strange coincidence, but no, it's definitely like inspired by Luna from Sailor Moon. That's where they got this idea from. The Pokemon itself evolves from another Pokemon, kind of like a little cat with a bell on it. It's adorable. Again, tons of prototype Pokemon that should not have been scrapped, but basically, Sailor Moon basically inspired Pokemon in a way. So, but it was an unused idea though, as far as I'm concerned. So it's kind of interesting to really think about, how many things that Pokemon really has inspired or been inspired by, because there's like so many different ideas in Japanese culture. And here's even more proof that it's got to be something right out of Sailor Moon, because back in the 90s, Sailor Moon was popular right around before the early 2000s even ended. Even outside of Japan, it was still popular, even through the running years. But they basically stopped it after like the mid 2000s, I believe. 1999, I believe, is when it like ceased, just before the 21st century. So the prototype for Gen 2, the build that I was able to find, the Space World 1997 demo of Pokemon, that Pokemon was actually supposed to be in it. So Sailor Moon was still popular right around 1997. So I wouldn't be surprised that might have actually had something to do with it as well. Because when Gold and Silver came out, again, if you don't know this, Pokemon Gold and Silver was created the way they did, and then Satoru Iwata came along, wrote a compression algorithm, because again, before he was president of Nintendo of Japan, he basically decided that he was going to, he was a president of another company called HAL, H-A-L. Again, if you played Super Smash Bros, you would know this. He's that HAL. The one where the logo was like a dog, and it was like, it looked like it was laying like 3 eggs and it was sleeping next to him. That was like one of their logos at the time. They also they also wrote the Kirby series too. I believe Satoru Iwata was the one that, if I remember correctly, it was HAL's Kirby was their main protagonist, and then there was the like Master Hand and Crazy Hand and King DDD and basically all those characters. Meta Knight, Galactic Knight. You get it. The Warp Stars and all that. That Kirby, the giant pink marshmallow. But anyways, so that was right around the time when Satoru Iwata came along and wrote them a compression algorithm, because Game Freak was still trying to figure out coding at the time. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they still did a really good job at the time, because they just had a lot of ideas, and they just so happened to be at a time when realistically you could run out of cartridge space even if you put enough hours into it. Basically, after I'm trying to think, like, after Nintendo, it was right around the 3DS and all that when they really started, like, not having this problem anymore. I think even DS games, there was a couple of them that actually did exceed the cartridge limitations, and therefore they had to downgrade them. I don't know which games, but I think after that, once memory started really becoming a lot more than discs, because nowadays you could just put a file on anything and it shouldn't have a limit capacity, so as long, realistically at least. But it's like, I think nowadays it'd be a lot easier for Nintendo to be able to say, well, we can just make a cartridge, an SDH, what is it, like an SD HD card? I forget exactly what we're up to now, but I mean, they shouldn't really have any problems nowadays. But back in the day, it was a problem because cartridge costs were just a lot higher, and handhelds, rather than being on a home console, Satoshi Tajiri again stated that he thought the best way to experience Pokemon was on the go. So, what limitations did you have at the time other than you had Game Boy games and Game Boy Color? And so over time, it was just, before the Game Boy Advance started really picking up, they were still kind of fighting, like, certain cartridge limitations that exceeded, I don't even think it was even a megabyte at the time. I forget exactly how much the Pokemon cartridges were up to, but I mean, Crystal, I don't even think Pokemon Crystal was even a megabyte, if I remember correctly. It was like still less than a megabyte, and they put so much stuff in that game, and to think Pokemon, again, Gen 1 and Gen 2 had so much scrapped ideas, it makes you wonder how much different was the game supposed to be. Would they have made even more Pokemon if they, after that? I mean, it's a question that begs an answer, it really does. So this is just one of the ideas they had, but it does make me wonder, how many ideas did they really have that could have exceeded past that, and therefore, how many ideas came from what, Is it possible, like, I mean, I'm just throwing this out there, but is it possible that even, like Pokemon could have had references to, like, stuff like Dragon Ball Z or One Piece by now, at least, and maybe I haven't even found it yet. I just think it's pretty cool, like, how many references, or something like Soul Eater and Resident Evil, or, it just, like, taking a series that somebody else made and putting it in there. Pokemon's done that, I guarantee it. Even with, like Street Fighter or Final Fight, Mortal Kombat, maybe not directly, but, getting some kind of inspiration. You get the idea. But, again, like I said, if I find more references, I'll make videos about it. But until then, we have to just kind of, like, really take it for what it is. So I wouldn't be surprised Sailor Moon was another series that inspired Pokemon in a way. They saw some of the characters from it, and they made a Pokemon based on it. So again, subscribe if you're not already. If you like these kind of videos, like it. So hopefully you learned something new today, and have a wonderful day.